You know what? I have a rant right now about these Tea Party protesters on tax day. I agree with them on some issues. I consider myself a war tax resistor because I am like pro-peace, anti-war, and I don't like any of my money going to any kind of war, overseas intervention and stuff like that. It's not like they need it anyway because the CIA get their money from drug smugglers and stuff like that from Afghanistan or Central America and South America, or Colombia and Peru. But anyway, I refuse to have my money go to any kind of war whatsoever. However, my taxes are being spent on a lot of other things. I thought taxes, and because of the size of my family, I don't have to pay federal taxes. As a matter of fact, I got more money back this year than I ever had because of Obama. I don't agree with him on foreign policy. I don't agree with him on a lot of social issues, or domestic issues. But however, I really can't complain about taxes this year. And a lot of people, these Tea Party protesters, they're saying, oh, the government is spending outrageously, blah, 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 And the reporter asked this woman, like, are you on Medicare? She's like, yes, I'm on Medicare. Are your children on Medicaid? Yes. Medicaid is a handout, by the way, okay? Medicaid is a handout. And these people are just laughable, unbelievably laughable. Collecting handouts, yet protesting the government. Where were they 8 years ago when this Tony Soprano-style government was in that White House? When Tony Soprano or George Bush Jr. was handing out jobs to his friends, running the whole country like a business, It's just ridiculous. So that's my rant. And, without government, you think the water is bad now. Try living in India, okay? They don't have any, water regulations there. Imagine, like, your food safety. We'd all be poisoned. You want to talk about the so-called Black Plague, it'd be like worse. Without government, oh God, this other woman just said she was on Medicare. So it's just ridiculous that they're protesting health care. And I kind of find it interesting that, unfortunately, a lot of these people are grumpy old white people who are at these Tea Party protests that collect Medicaid and Medicare. And, they do not want to give up their benefits. And, I think that everybody should be entitled to these benefits, period. I am against the health care bill. I am for single payer for all, and it's a lot cheaper. It's a lot more efficient. It'll put these corrupt insurance companies out of business. To hell with these insurance companies. They don't deserve to exist anyway. And who else? Yeah, so that's all I have to say about that. And, government has done a lot of really, really cool things, I mean, you have libraries, you have public school systems. They're not the best in the world, though, but at least we have free education, so-called, paid by the taxpayers, Our roads and everything paid for, our air traffic controllers, What else? Our clean air, clean water supply, clean forests initiative, trees growing, we have to put a hole on how many trees, that's why we have public parks and public forests and stuff like that. These Alex Jones, like, libertarians, they just want to completely rape the planet, and it's just like they have, like, no regard for the earth, no regard for the mother at all, and I think I'm libertarian in some instances, but not as far as that, and you can rant about collectivism all you want, though, but it's a body of people that need to keep you, the individual, you, the out-of-control individual, in check. And, he had a link on his website, on the InfoWar website, that talked about trash the planet. This was against recycling. This was against, it was just like, unbelievable. Look at San Francisco. Take a look at Los Angeles. Look at all that smog models, cars, and everything. If you don't believe in global warming, hey, that's fine, I don't know, to be honest with you. I don't know about global warming. Maybe it does exist, maybe it doesn't, but pollution is real, okay? Pollution is real. You cannot pretend that it does not exist. And I don't care what political persuasion that you come from, you cannot pretend that smog in the air is not is just incidental, or coincidental. You cannot pretend that people who are getting asthma every year from TVA or Kentucky Valley Authority or Ohio Valley Authority all along the Appalachian Trail from like coal mining and burning coal and all that stuff. You cannot pretend that's not real. That's real, okay? And that's why these bastards need to be kept in check. That's why we need to keep a watch on these corporations. And who's going to do that? Another private industry? Oh, no. No, I don't think so, pal. Without government, these people, absolute power corrupts absolutely. That's why we need the checks and balances. So you people who are out there complaining about the government is we, the people. If you don't like it, you get out there and vote, okay? And, just do it ethically. Just don't do it in a plutocratic or oligarchic sort of way, That's how we've had things under the Bush administration. Like I said, I don't agree with the Obama and Bush officials, and I let them have it, absolutely. So Bush, he was worse. He was worse. And, with this financial crash, he planned on privatizing Social Security. Now, I want you to think about where would we be right now if privatized Social Security came into effect. What would we do? Where would we be? That would really suck. Because, we'd be screwed. So nix that idea, and I hope this goes down in the memory book, in the pages and chapters of history, that we never, ever, ever try to do that stupid shit again. I'll talk to y'all later. Peace.